Google's been in search since the beginning, and on the back end of that search, in order to run queries, they do use a lot of machine learning to do a lot of back testing and provide accurate results. And they've obviously been able to harness that into a money-making, a printing press through search. Now that ChatGPT is out, they actually created their own, which is called Bard. They do have a big presence in AI. I think like BigQuery, things like that are more appropriate for them. I think that's where they've made a big impact. Google Workspace, which I do use, and generative AI, which, what I've talked about before. Generative AI is just being able to ask those questions and get responses back that are more human-like versus getting maybe a web page or a knowledge article.